Hi, my name is Ellen Miller, and I'm an author and teacher. I love to sew couture embellishments. So today I'm going to talk about Sashiko stitching. Sashiko stitching comes from Japan. Originally, the Japanese people wore many clothes that were dyed in blue indigo fabric. When the clothing needed mending, they used white thread, as that was inexpensive. The stitching patterns made interesting designs, and those designs were codified into Sashiko. Here's an example of the white stitching on the indigo blue fabric. The designs, like this diamond pattern, can be easily stitched by machine, even though the original patterns were done by hand. So if you take this basic diamond pattern and break it apart, you can make really interesting designs. To take the design apart, we're going to separate the lines into this batch. These are parallel lines, 30 degrees off horizontal, and then duplicate and rotate that to create these diamond patterns. And this is our first Sashiko design called diamonds. This double diamond pattern is the same pattern, but with a second set of lines stitched. These are just 1/4 of an inch above the first set of lines. When you add the twisted lines, you get this lovely double diamond pattern. A third pattern, this is called diamond wave pattern, but I think of it more as mountains, is our basic diamond pattern with 3 half diamonds added into the center of each diamond, which gets us to our completed pattern. And this is what that looks like when it's stitched. I like to transfer my designs to fusible interfacing. Sorry, that was upside down. And just print them on my computer. When I have a design that's large, I can just match these patterns up, pin them together, and then sew them together so that they don't move. It's a lot like working with a large PDF pattern, but without the sticky tape to gum up your needle. When I'm stitching Sashiko, I use 2 layers of cloth, fashion fabric, and this is just a basic muslin. Pin them together, and then iron them with lots of steam. The steam will help glue the layers together. Then take your pattern on the tearaway interfacing. It's not fusible, it's tearaway. And pin it to the wrong side, to the lining side of your fabric. If you have lots of pieces of interfacing, you can machine base them right into place so that they don't move. The pins are bulky, and this machine basting is easy to take out and keeps this all flat and organized. So this is all bobbin work. And as you can see from this short sleeve that I made for my book, it's all on the surface here, and it makes this lovely raised pattern. In order to do that, I use this thicker button thread, which I wind in the bobbin. It takes many bobbins because it's so thick it fills up the bobbin very quickly. Then I'm going to go over to the machine and adjust my tensions to make sure that the bobbin and the needle thread react together well. Notice that I have my fashion fabric down so that it's going to showcase the bobbin thread. This machine has an automatically adjusting bobbin, so I don't have to do anything to make it adjust to the tension. Now, notice that I'm not cutting the threads, I'm leaving long thread tails. That's because later on, I'll need to knot these. If you have a regular bobbin case that doesn't self-adjust, you can adjust it yourself by turning this large screw. Remember, righty-tighty, lefty-loosey. Turn this a quarter of a turn, and then thread your bobbin case normally. Pull on the thread to make sure it turns easily, and then hang it up in the air to make sure it's not too loose. And then you're ready to go. At home, I have 2 bobbin cases. One I adjust for special work, and one I keep for my regular sewing. So then we're going to go back to our stitching patterns that we did the first on the interfacing. And I'm going to stitch this. Here are parallel lines. I'm going to start in the center and stitch to this edge, then turn my project around and stitch to this way. Then I'm going to add my second set of lines, and again stitch from the center to the edge, turn it around, from the center to the edge. Here is the double diamond finished, and here it is with the fashion fabric up. You'll notice I have a lot of threads here. That's so I can knot them after I'm done sewing everything. With everything sewn, and make sure that it's all sewn, turn it to this side, and you can start to pull off your tearaway interfacing, okay? Just comes right off. If you have things that are stuck in the corner, you can use a pair of tweezers to get it off or not. On this sample, you can see that there are these little black marks. These are little bits of interfacing that were left behind, and I'm just going to use my tweezers to pull them all out. You'll also see that this is quite rumpled. That's from pulling all the interfacing out and the stitching. But as soon as I press it, it's going to look great, just like this one. This design ends in the middle of my fabric. So I need to pull these threads to the wrong side and knot them. So here are 2 threads that I've pulled to the wrong side. I'm just going to turn that around my finger, and using a pin or a needle, pull this down to the surface. Then I can take an easy thread needle, pull that in, and bury my knot in between the 2 layers. And you'll hear a little click when that goes, and then you can just cut this thread. Then I can go around and knot these ones along the edges and cut them off as well. Here is a piece of Sashiko that's all sewn, and I have 2 cuff patterns that I've put on top. You can see that the stitching goes beyond the edge of the pattern. So then you want to stitch with a very, very small stitch right across this stitching, the Sashiko stitching, to anchor this so it doesn't unravel later on. You can leave this little stitching in because it's within the seam allowance, and you're good to go. Just cut things out, and off you go into making beautiful Sashiko ornamented clothing. Now that you've seen the whole process, let's go back to the machine and do a little stitching. I'm going to work on this double diamond pattern, and remember, I'm starting in the center and stitching to one side and then the other. Take your time and stitch very carefully. You want this line to be very straight. pull out a nice long thread tail. Now I'm going to stitch the mate to this first line. Once you get good at stitching straight line sashiko, you can move on to the curved line sashikos, which get very involved and are really fun to do. And pull this out. And you can just check your stitching lines here and see how beautiful this heavy bobbin thread is. It's really lovely. So next, I would go this way and stitch these two lines, and maybe these two little ones. Then turn around, go this way, this way, this way. When all of these are complete, then I would start in the center again and stitch here and here and here, then go back here and here. And now you've seen the whole stitching process.